Hey guys, namaste, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be creating this beautiful look on my beautiful model. So firstly, I'm going to be using a lens. I'm going to be applying lens to her eyes, and I'm using an aqua lens over here in the shade grey. So I'm going to be gently applying it onto both the eyes, and let's start the makeup. So firstly, I'm going to be applying a gentle layer of serum onto her face to give her extra nourishment. So you can see her, she have a pretty complexion, but there is a little bit of discolorations. So we are going to be covering up all of these things. Here I'm using a primer and oil just on her cheeks and wherever she needs like extra hydration. So I've let it set, and I'm using concealer by Inside Cosmetics. This is a very light shade compared to her skin complexion. Why am I using this? Because we are going to go a little dramatic with the eye makeup. We are going to give her like a very bold, beautiful eye makeup. So I'm going to be using almost all the affordable products even in this makeup look. So I'm going to set it with a compact powder. So for the base, I'm going to be using a transition shade. This is my favorite makeup palette. This is a Revlon palette. This is what I mostly use on my brides as well. I love this palette. It has good pigmentation. I'm using a dark brown shade to the outer corner of the eyes and giving it a little bit of definition. I'm also going to be mixing this brown with a little bit of plum shade as well. So here I'm going to be using a concealer to create a cut crease eyes. So I'm going to cut the half of the crease here using the concealer. I'm using a cream concealer. You can go with liquid foundation or liquid concealer. Not foundation, liquid concealer. Or you can also use a lipstick instead of a concealer, depending upon what you're comfortable with. So I'm going to be using a white, a creamish powder eyeshadow to set this entirely. And I'm going to define the outer corner using a plum and a brown shade. So you can play around with colors depending upon what your bride is wearing and what are the colors that suits their complexion. Here I'm going to keep it very neutral and show it to you guys how a neutral eye makeup can also be made really beautiful. Here I'm using a golden frost on the middle of the eyes and just gonna blend it all together really well. So for the inner corner, I'm going to be using a little lighter gold so that it, gives that beautiful inner corner effect. My model has a really good almond shaped eyes, so cut crease on her will look really beautiful. So after doing this, I'm going to thoroughly blend all of these things together. So now I'm going to be adding pigments. It's a pressed glitter by Mars, and this palette is again really beautiful and has really good pigments. I even need glue to apply this. I'm using a Vega brush and liquid liner to just give her a good wing liner. I'm not going to go very overboarded with the wing, but yeah, I'm going to give her a wing liner that suits her eye shape pretty well. You can already see how amazing the eyes looks, and by the end of the video you're gonna see how beautiful she looks. So starting with the tight liner, I'm just gonna draw a little wing at the outer corner of her eyes. I'm sharpening the wings at the outer corner. I'm using a spoolie to brush her eyebrows. She barely have any eyebrows, so we're going to be defining and filling in the brows. So I'm using a powder eyebrow palette here to fill in her brows. I'm using kind of brown, grey and black, mixing all the three pigments and just adding on to her eyebrows. Eyebrow makes a lot of difference in the eye makeup. I'm not gonna go with a very dramatic eyebrows. I've kept it very subtle. Now I'm gonna clean up all the fallouts. There is barely any fallout, but still. So here I'm using a darker colored concealer, again by the brand called Swiss Beauty. So I'm gonna correct all her pigmentations and tan dark spots using this concealer. And I'm also gonna mix a little bit of illuminating highlighter by brand called Plum, and just blending all of these things together. I'm gonna be giving her a little bit of matte base, but still there is a requirement of highlighter so that her skin looks very healthy. So I'm using a lighter, not really lighter, a color that is almost into her skin tone, just to brighten and neutralize all the color correction that we have done. I'm using a damp beauty blender to blend all of these things in, and I'm using a little bit of setting spray in between to blend the makeup really well. Here I'm going to be using a thin layer of foundation onto her face, according to whatever is required. I've mixed a couple of foundations here by the brand of Sugar Cosmetics as well as Insight Cosmetics. So this gives a really good base. As I told you, I'm using setting sprays in between just to keep it very hydrated and blend it properly. You can already see how the eye is popping and how the eye makeup is looking as soon as I'm started doing her base makeup. So I'm using a pink cream lipstick in the form of blush. So it's all about formulation. You need not buy hundreds of products. It's just right formulations that gives you a right makeup. So you can see she already looks very bright and beautiful. So here I'm using a brown color concealer in the form of contour. I'm giving her a very good contouring to her face, matching her features. I'm also giving a little bit of lift near her eyes using a contour, and I'm also contouring her forehead since she have a very broad forehead. Blending makes all the difference, you guys. You can also use brush to blend the makeup, but I prefer going in with damp beauty blender over a brush for this particular makeup look. So here I'll be baking her under eyes using a loose powder. You can also use pink powder or banana powder depending upon what you have or what would look better on your skin tones. I'm also going to be setting her makeup using a loose powder. So I'm going to be starting with the under eye work. Here I'm going to be using the same brown plum shade that I took for the eye outer corner of the eyes, and just going to use a smaller brush and just blend it in her lower lash line as well. Just connect the upper V and the lower lash line as it gives that smooth blending. Here I'm using a bronzer to bronze her face wherever the contouring is done. You can see how elongated and beautiful her nose looks. I'm using highlighter, a pearl shade highlighter by the palette of Swiss Beauty on her high points of the face. As I told you, it's matte but again a little glowy kind of a base. That is what we are working on for today. I'm using a powder blush to just double the blush effect. So I'm going to remove all the excess powder that was on the face, and you can already see her base. Now comes the beautiful part. I'm gonna give her a beautiful lip combo. So I'm gonna use a chocolate brown, dark brown, lip liner, and just gonna give her good lines on the lips. This is by the brand Swiss Beauty. And for the lipstick, I have done a custom mix of two shades. That is one from both are from Handaya and Beauty. One is a pink, another one is a brown shade. I've mixed both of these things. This is giving modern lip kind of a look. So you can leave it like this only, but I would like to add in a little bit of gloss to just make it look more beautiful and sultry. Look at the lips, you guys. It's so plump, so juicy, so pouty, and the color is matching her makeup and her complexion really well. So now I'm going to be adding in kajal. I'm using a blue colored kajal from the brand called Dazzler, and this is one kajal that I'm obsessed with, both green and blue of this particular brand. I also like to go in with black kajal, but sometimes I want to go and play around with the colored kajals as it looks really beautiful for the pictures as well. I've blended everything thoroughly. So I've added a bindi, and I'm going to go in with like setting spray. I'm going to be using a very little bindi that is in the color pink as it matches her outfit. You can see the makeup, you guys. I am obsessed with how she was looking. And I've also brightened her birthmark, her mole. That was next to her, lips. And last but not the least, I am going to be adding in some falsies. I'm using mink lashes, 3D mink lashes here. You can use this particular makeup look for reception brides and cocktail parties. And you can also use it for muhurtam, but with the red lips I prefer. So this looks so beautiful, so sultry, yet very glamorous. And trust me, I've done all of these things using affordable products. I'm using Swiss Beauty mascara and mask setting spray. You tell me, how is it?
Yeah. Nice, bro. Super.
This was a final look. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did so, you guys know the drill. Like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, stay tuned, take care, bye bye, love you guys.